It is my favorite time of the year, yes, Christmas time, which also happens to mean Asheville's own Warren Haynes joining me in the Rock 105.1 studios. Thank you again, taking part in our annual thing that I look forward to so much right here in the studios. I think it's our 14th year that you've been coming. I found a song that dated back to 2001.
Wow.
So that's a long time you've been coming, and even longer time that, of course, you've been doing the show, 26 years as of this year, helping great charities, and most recently, of course, Habitat for Humanity, where you're going to be in just a little bit. And I can say it now because by the time that word gets out, it'll be too late for them to join you at one of your new Habitat houses, raising a wall.
Yeah, I've been being part of that last few years. It's fun. There are more and more people volunteering, even coming from out of town or out of state to be part of it, and people lending their services. You know, we do this thing called Before the Jam, Lend a Hand, and it's amazing. Contractors, plumbers, just general laymen, and people just saying, hey, I'll come help build the house. And some people donate materials and services. It's been great. And it kind of sheds a new light on that whole experience when you watch it go down that way.
It truly has become a community experience, something that this entire Asheville area and beyond has embraced. That must be incredibly heartwarming for you to see how it's developed over the years.
You know, I'm just really proud of Asheville in general. It was always a beautiful place to live and to grow up. But it's really turned into like an example of what a great community is, and I think that's awesome. Those of us who have been here for a long time remember when the downtown area was kind of like a ghost town, and now it's like thriving like as much as any.
You can't even get a parking spot on a Tuesday afternoon in February. I mean, that's what it's become. And even since I moved here in '99, it's done that.
But you can get a chai latte.
You know, anytime, day or night. If you need one, they got one for you. All right, a lot of people they're chomping at the bits now. They want to hear you do a song like I do. So let's do a song and talk a little more, and then we'll hear a little more music and just go from there.
All right, so you mentioned earlier 14 years you and I have been doing this, which makes it a challenge for me to come up with a song that I haven't done yet. We usually do a couple, and you know, we've been talking about the possibility of even putting together some charity CD based on a lot of the performances here at the station through the years. You and I were chatting off the air. I think I've come up with a couple of songs that I've never done. The first song is this song, Glory Road, that was written by Ray Sisk, my friend here, who's a great songwriter that I grew up listening to. And truth be told, sneaking in to see him and Malcolm Holcomb and Larry Rhodes and a lot of the local songwriters that were a bit older than me. From the time I was 14, I used to sneak in and check those guys out, and I learned this song probably when I was 14 years old.
Nice warm bath if all goes well. I've been out in the Badlands 21 days, tracking my bounty down. He was only a kid, maybe 17, but he traded love away for a streak of mean. Now he's tied to my saddle, he's heading home low, out on the glory road. All you downtown ladies, won't you dress in style? Won't you come along? I'll be riding on the glory road someday. Two men painted on a midnight sky, one slung low, the other riding high. I wonder if anybody knows just why I had to shoot him down. Now I lay me down to rest. God bless the boy with my bullet in his chest. But you can't bless me, 'cause I lost my soul out on the glory road. So all you downtown ladies, won't you dress in style? Got some gold in my saddlebags, and I'd trade it for a smile. Let's have dinner on the devil tonight. Tomorrow there'll be hell to pay. Won't you come along? I'll be riding on the glory road someday. Won't you come along? I'll be riding on the glory road someday.
All right.
Awesome song. Love that one a lot, and we'll hear another one coming up in just a bit. You got to be sick and tired of me asking you prying questions after all these years, so I decided to open it up to some of the listeners, and they've got a couple of good ones. I think maybe one of them we discussed before, but certainly not this one. So we'll start off with, first of all, can we look forward to anything from the Warren Haynes Band in the next year? And has Hudson picked up any instruments yet?
Is that two questions?
Yeah, you're probably not related. I wouldn't think he's going to be joining anytime soon.
The Warren Haynes Band is a blast for all of us involved. Everybody's busy doing their own thing. Terrence Higgins, the drummer, is playing with Ani DeFranco right now. Nigel Hall and Alicia Shakur are both working on solo records.
Mm-hmm.
And Ron Holloway started the Ron Holloway Band recently. We saw him when we played in D.C. Just a few weeks ago. Ron Johnson, the bass player, has since joined Greg Allman and Friends, so it's a small world. But we all look forward to getting back together when the time arises that we can fit all of our schedules together. In the meanwhile, I've been working on a solo record that's going to be completely different from Man in Motion. It's going to be much more acoustic oriented.
Mm-hmm.
And as an example, the song I just did, Glory Road, is one of the songs that we've recorded so far. And I'm recording with a lot of the guys from the band Railroad Earth, and it's been a wonderful experience.
And Railroad Earth, a lot of people familiar with them in Nashville. They've played here on several occasions. And you mentioned the Allman, so I've got some really good news for people. The Allman Brothers Band will be at the Wani Music Festival. Not together. Because you guys are all playing there in some shape or form.
I think from what I saw, almost everybody's going to be there.
Butch is going to get a group together. Oteil Burbage is playing.
Yeah.
You'll be there with Mule. Your drummer, of course, is going to be there. and
JMO's Jazz Band will be there, and
JMO's
I think
Jazz, and Greg is going to do a set.
Friends,
Yeah, so just about everybody.
I don't think Tedeschi Trucks Band is booked there as of yet, but maybe they'll have.
Yeah, throw those in there. So it's possible that maybe all the stars could line up for you guys to appear on stage again for a song or two.
Sounds like a lot of pressure, man.
It is a lot of pressure, but I'm sure you could pick it right up where you left off, which was relatively recently in New York City at the Beacon Theater run, which we've talked about. Speaking of New York City, you just played the national anthem at Madison Square Garden. That was just last week. Was that cool?
Yeah. You know, it was very nice to be invited and asked to do it. When they asked me to do it, they asked me to sing it, and I was like, no, I don't want to sing it. I've never enjoyed singing that song. I don't. It's not a flattering song.
It's very difficult from what everyone says, all the ranges.
And even the range part is not that big a problem in general if you start out low enough. People just usually start too high, and then when they get to the Rocket's Red Glare, they're like, oh.
I got nothing left.
But it's just not something that is open to interpretation. You know, a lot of times when I hear somebody else sing it, I think, nah, I don't really.
Not so much.
I'm not buying the interpretation of it. So I asked them if I could do it just playing it, and they said sure. And so I just played it like on an electric guitar.
And you had participated, I think it was just this year, for the anniversary of the song. You had posted something on your website.
For the Smithsonian.
So the Smithsonian.
They had asked me to do it, and they came to my house and filmed me doing a pretty similar version, you know. Very mellow, not, you know, in no ways similar to the Jimi Hendrix at Woodstock.
No, polar opposite, but a great version of it. I thought there was almost a reverence to doing it acoustically the way that you did.
You know, I just wanted to do it in a reverent sort of way. You know, people kept asking me about if you want to do it crazy like Hendrix. I think Jimmy kind of did that. I think he ruined everybody for that.
That's why no one re-records Stairway to Heaven for the most part.
You know,
it's
just
been done.
Yeah, there's certain things that you're never going to top.
Although, that lends itself into a segue. You may have heard recently that, of course, Robert Plant doesn't want to tour again with Led Zeppelin. Everyone wants Led Zeppelin to tour. It was posed to Ann Wilson of Heart, who has an amazing vocal range.
And used to be like a Zeppelin cover.
They have covered Zeppelin on many occasions. She said she would love to.
Yeah.
So that would be an interesting, you know, pairing. Ann Wilson with Led Zeppelin on tour.
She's a great singer and still singing great to this day. I mean, I'd love to see that.
Here's an email I got earlier today. Rick, please tell Warren we're so proud of him. I graduated high school with him and have kept up with him since. We can't make it to this year's jam. We've been to many others. We just want him to know it's great to have such a nice person representing Asheville. Go Warren, Cindy Branson, class of 78. You know, you hear a lot about your music, but here someone's just really happy that you're such a nice guy and you're representing. And that's what I tell everyone. I go, you're not going to meet a nicer guy. I mean, the talent everyone knows. But he's one of the nicest guys that you're ever going to meet, in and out of music.
Well, thank you. You know, I mean, I think it's always been important to me to, I guess just growing up here and with family and friends the way we all grew up, you know, if you're listening to somebody's music and then they turn out to not be a very nice person, it always kind of sours you a little bit on that. And not that I can't separate someone's art from their personality, but it's hard when that seeps into the picture. You know, it's just as easy to be nice as it is to not be nice. So I've never really understood that using the same amount of energy to not be nice doesn't make any sense to me.
And that makes for a great segue into our final listener contributed question. I can't say contributed for some reason. I keep saying contributed or something. It's very difficult to get that.
I keep thinking you're talking about contraband.
Jeez, it's difficult to get the syllable in the right place. It's just of all the great artists you've met, who is the greatest or the one you respect the most? So this may be a case of you thought it might be somebody, you met him, and then afterwards thinking, okay. Or is it someone that really surprised you, or maybe it's just somebody you look up for because they're talent?
Well, somebody asked me a couple of days ago in an interview what musician I had shared the stage with that I thought was the most talented musician I'd ever shared the stage with. And it was a hard question to answer, and the answer I came up with was Herbie Hancock, who played in my favorite Miles Davis group with Wayne Shorter and Ron Carter and Tony Williams, Herbie Hancock, and Miles. Herbie's just a complete genius, and it was quite an honor to be on stage with him. Being on stage with Bob Dylan was a huge honor for me too. But as far as just people I've met, I've been so fortunate to have met so many people I grew up listening to and learning from. I probably have to stick with that.
And you've met most of the big names that are around in music. I'm guessing you've run into a McCartney or a Clapton or a Jagger.
I saw McCartney play. I've never met him, so to speak, and that would be a huge deal for me. I have so much respect for him, and love the fact that this far down the line he sounds amazing and goes out and does 2.5-hour shows. I went to see him in New York, and he sounded as good singing at the end of the show as he did at the beginning of the show, and he played for 2.5 or 3 hours. It was incredible.
If you go as long as he is, we'll get to a 50th anniversary Christmas jam before too long, right? Only in our 24 years.
We'll see how that turns out, yeah.
I'm not sure if you're aware of this. Your friend, former bandmate Dickie Betts, it's his birthday today.
I am aware of that.
Okay. Did you tag him on Facebook or something? Did you let it?
I actually called Dickie a few days ago because I want to get him to come to Christmas Jam one of these years, and I think it would be great to have him come be part of it.
A story that we haven't talked about, and let's get to it, and we'll do it real briefly because I know you got other stuff you got to do after one more song, is the formation of Gov't Mule, and that lends itself to mentioning Dickie and the Allmans because it kind of stemmed from that. I'm aware of it. I'm sure some others are, but maybe others are not, and I'm sure they're curious. And now that Mule is celebrating their 20th anniversary,
hard to believe.
Yeah, the formation of that and how that came to be. I know it's a really interesting story. So let's hear one more song, and then we'll get to that.
Okay. This is Forsaken Savior from Shout, which is the new Gov't Mule record.
How does it feel to wake up in all your glory? Maybe you can recall that feeling now. Block out the memories of what happened overnight and pretend the people aren't riding in the streets. Pretend they don't steal you with fear. Forsaken Savior, where do we go from here? Do you have your sights set on another journey? Or is it finally time to throw in the towel? Are you scared the world will never sing your praises? Do you bury your head in the sand? Do you step up and take it like a man? Forsaken Savior, it's all in your hands. If you find your way back to reality, I think you'll find that it hasn't changed that much. Forsaken Savior, forsaken Savior. we're out of touch. Isn't the whole story that you don't stop? Never stop believing in your message. We'd all be king if it were easy. But so few can take the pressure, and so few just refuse to fade away. Forsaken Savior, where do we go today? Forsaken Savior, where do we go? Forsaken Savior, maybe it's time to pray.
Once again, just awesome. And
Thank you.
Gov't Mule, going to be part of the big all-star lineup tomorrow night at the 26th annual Warren Haynes Christmas Jam. You've got the pre-jam tonight, the Christmas Jam tomorrow night. You can still get tickets at xmasjam.com or just head over to the U.S. Cellular Center, Civic Center box office and grab yours. Gov't Mule celebrating their 20th anniversary. Bunch of stuff coming out this year to kind of coincide with that. 2 already out. Stone Side of the Mule Volume 1 and Dark Side of the Mule. 2 of your Halloween shows. One covering the Rolling Stones, the other Pink Floyd. Both are awesome. We played some songs. Then you've got Dub Side of the Mule coming out early 2015. And then Skull Mule album also coming out.
Yeah, people that don't know, on Halloween and New Year's Eve for that matter, we do, those are the only 2 days of the year that we do something crazy. And on Halloween, we do a special thematic show, which is usually either covering an entire album by an artist or a band, or doing a nice long set of our choice picks from a band like that. We've done Who's Next, we've done Led Zeppelin, Houses of the Holy, we've done 90 minutes of the Rolling Stones, which turned into the Stone Side of the Mule. That's only available on vinyl.
Right.
You can't get it in
Special release for Vinyl Day, I believe it was.
Yeah, for the Record Store Day.
Record Store Day.
And then in 2008, we did 90 minutes of Pink Floyd, complete with surround sound and a laser show and 3 female background singers, 2 of which actually toured with Pink Floyd, and with Ron Holloway, who we talked about earlier, playing saxophone. That was filmed for a DVD and a CD release as well. This year we did 2.5 hours of Neil Young music, and we're going to actually bring some of that to the Civic Center tomorrow night with our friend Jackie Green.
Nice.
It's just something, a lot of jam bands, a lot of people in our circle do something crazy like that. Fish does it, Widespread Panic does it, Humphreys McGee does it. A lot of people just something crazy for Halloween, you know. It's like wearing a disguise, I think.
Let's go back, not to interrupt,
Yeah.
I know, but let's go back to 20 years ago. And Gov't Mule is forming. You're a member of the Allmans at the time, and you'd played with Dickie Betts prior to that, Dickie Betts Band. So how does Gov't Mule begin? Give us the origins.
Well, I don't know if people remember this. Dickie Betts Band actually played 45 Cherry in, I guess, 88 or something like that. I met Matt Apps in Dickie's band. Matt was the drummer in the Dickie Betts Band. In 89, I got a call saying they were putting the Allman Brothers back together and they wanted me to join. They auditioned bass players, and Alan Woody got the job. he and I became instant friends, and were hanging out a lot together, playing a lot of music together, and we rode on the same bus, and so we would listen to music late at night, and one night we started talking about doing some sort of side project, and it was based on what they call power trios, the Hendrix Experience, Cream, that sort of thing. And the reason was we felt like nobody was doing that. It was kind of a void in the current rock scene. And Woody made the remark that, me and you and the right drummer could pull that off. And I thought about Matt Apps, so we called Matt. Mm-hmm. He was living in Los Angeles, and we were going to be there like a month later or something. So we scheduled a jam session, and it turned out great. And so it kind of turned into a band.
And for people that maybe have your entire catalog, if they could spend a weekend listening from the beginning to the end, what they will notice is your band's sound has changed dramatically from the origins to now.
Yeah, in some ways, a lot of logical, obvious steps in other directions, because no band wants to stay where they are. The whole point of being a band is to continue to grow, but you can't grow in ways that confuse the audience or leave the audience behind. So with each record, we felt like it was important to showcase more of our influences. And so if you go back to the very beginning, the second record's different than the first record, the third record's different from the second record. It just kind of goes like that through our whole career. Then when Alan Woody passed away, we didn't have any choice. That chemistry was shattered. So the only choice for Gov't Mule to stay together was to stumble upon a new chemistry that rivaled the old chemistry, but we were never going to have that same chemistry again. Now, the ironic thing is that when we hired Jorgen Carlson in 2008, he plays more similarly to Woody than anybody I've ever met. I don't think hiring him in 2000 or 2001 would have been the right call. Mm-hmm. But after Andy Hess left the band, when we hired Jorgen, it seemed like the perfect fit. So in a lot of ways, a lot of that original energy is back in a kind of weird sort of way. Jorgen didn't know Woody, and he wasn't even familiar with his playing, but their instincts are similar.
And the deep end sessions where you had to work with other individuals and their talents and what they brought, I understand that kind of exposed you to some different styles as well.
Well, I found myself in the position of having to write songs with each bass player's style in mind. Jack Bruce from Cream, Bootsy Collins, Chris Squire from Yes, John Entwistle from The Who, Phil Lesh from the Grateful Dead, Les Claypool. All these wonderful bass players were coming in to record with us, and I wanted to make sure that the songs we recorded featured their personalities as much as our personalities. So what ended up happening is that personality kind of got infused into the current Mule state of mind, and it's kind of been there ever since.
And here we are 20 years later, and 26 years of the Warren Haynes Christmas Jam, this year benefiting Habitat for Humanity. And before I let you go, it was pointed out to me that the question about Hudson was not answered. We'll make that with the last one. Has he picked up anything yet? I mean, no, he's just a critter, but
he
still
picks up everything. He loves. I have a piano. He loves play around on the piano, and he's about to start taking piano lessons, even though he's only 3. He plays guitar in his own way, but at the moment he thinks he's left-handed, and he may stay that way, but that's what seems natural to him. He doesn't necessarily throw left-handed, but he plays guitar left-handed. But he has great rhythm, and he has some drums, and he plays around with the drums, and he sings, and he has good pitch, and he just absolutely loves music. And I would never push him toward music, but he's pushing himself toward it.
I would think drums would be the natural, as children love to pound things.
Yeah, the whole world is a drum. The hard part is convincing him why it's okay to beat on one thing and not on another,
right? This good, the China bad. 26th annual Warren Haynes Christmas Jam to benefit Habitat for Humanity tomorrow night at the U.S. Cellular Center. Yes, tickets are still available, so if you've been holding out till last minute, don't hold out any longer. Get your tickets and be there tomorrow night. An incredible lineup. We didn't even have a chance to talk about it. We'll just rattle it off briefly, though. Vince Gill, Gov't Mule, Jason Isbell, Billy and the Kids, Hardworking Americans, The Revivalists, and then a host of guest stars. Those of you that are familiar with the show know what it's going to be. A series of collaboration and a night of amazing music.
And I should point out for people that are going, Billy and the Kids, what is that? That's a new band put together by Bill Kreutzmann from the Grateful Dead. And he and I have worked together a lot through the years. And I'm sure there are going to be a lot of wonderful guest musicians sitting in with them in addition to the band. And it's going to be exciting.
And fellow local boy done good, Caleb Johnson, American Idol winner. He's
Caleb's
gonna be there as
coming
well.
and going to be part of some cool collaborations as well. And really looking forward to it.
So a lot to look forward to tomorrow night. And Christmas Jam by day. There's lots of stuff. If you can't spend 8 hours listening to the show tomorrow night, because it's always a doozy, there's plenty of shows you can take in tomorrow in downtown Asheville. So once again, go to xmasjam.com for all of that. And we thank you so much again for coming by.
My pleasure.
So busy, and we so look forward to this every year. Warren Haynes, thank you so much.